friendships and his family relationships, more than likely were just the other tax collectors. More than likely, he didn't have community life outside of that because they were shunned. They weren't welcome. He might have been able to get in good with some Romans, but even Romans looked at them as, oh, it's one of those Jews. Exactly. Those of influence use it only for themselves rather than for others. And let me say this. Let me about that question. Why did these things influence for themselves and not for others? First of all, very few people actually get benevolent after they've made it. They're benevolent only in the things that they want to be benevolent in, and they're benevolent only in certain areas. And, well, for a perfect example, there was a politician a few years back. We need socialism. We need everybody to pay their fair share, and the guy's got 8 houses. Well, why don't you be an example? Show us all how to do it, Buck. There's a fact of that. Well, and then you have people with different, for example, the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, Bill Gloria, I said, this is a joke. It's okay, it's okay. Bill Gates Foundation, they give out millions upon millions upon millions of dollars every year, but only to the projects he wants it to go to. If I walked up and said, hey, bro, can you break off about $250,000 from my church? What's the odds? You think Bill Gates would give me 200? The guy's giving them a couple $100 million. What's the odds? For our church. And Slim just left town. Yes. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's who we are, though. That's the point I'm trying to make on that. Is people get upset for people not being, but the fact of the matter is we're all like that. We're all like that. One thing you learn as a pastor, there's money out there in the church. You got to find the right thing that somebody wants to give to. And it is what it is. If I say, hey, we're behind on the electrical bill, there was one point where I said that's 6 months in a row. We were behind 6 months in a row, and finally we got caught up. Then I came in and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Bam! There's more than enough money there for that. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. I didn't get mad. But boy, there's times of frustrations of like, we still got to pay the bills. And I'm not dogging anyone out in this church. That's every church you go to everywhere in America. That's every human being you run into. They'll sit there and talk about there's not much food in the house. We don't know what we're doing. We're having trouble with the bills. And I have walked in the door and saw 3 cases of beer in the corner.
Or cigarettes.
And cartons of cigarettes, Anything.
I had somebody ask me for money, and well, something like that. Now, figure that up, and I could have just,
How much are QPCs now, or GPCs now?
I
If Marlboro's $9 a pack, even GPC's got to be $6.
in front of Nick, he said she spent $8 for
about anybody about anything. It's not. We find they don't use it the way we think they need to use it. Different.
Yeah, but you can't do that, cause when it's, I just told one of my grandkids, when it's yours, you do what you want to with it, I won't say a word. But as long as it's still in my pocket, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
That's why. What was it? We were talking about Juliana doing the coffee. Someone's like, "You better tip her good." I go, "I did. There's food in the cupboard and the lights are on.
That's right, and there's a bed in her house.
There's a bed in the house. She's got clothes. That's how I tipped her for that coffee she gave me." You got a chicken on your shirt. So we get distasteful and upsetting thoughts when we spend money the way they want to spend it, not the way we think we should. I mean, there's someone over there, someone gave him $1 million. He's like, "Give me 5. You know? Okay. I told you. He said, "Nice reference." Jesus couldn't see someone who's a big sinner. You know what Jesus saw? He saw someone who needs love, and he saw someone who was ready to receive. If you're climbing a tree to see me, you're ready to receive. Jesus apparently saw Zacchaeus' heart and his future. Instead of seeing what Zacchaeus had done, Jesus saw who he could become. Jesus called him by name and invited himself into Zacchaeus' home. In the same way, Jesus knows each of us by name. I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in. But if the TV's too loud and you're on the phone gossiping, you'll never know I'm even out here in the cold. And we will share a meal together as friends. In the original Greek, it has that extra part I added in there. So, who looked at you when others might have thought you weren't worth it? When others thought you needed to just go ahead and pay your debts to society. You made your bed, now you're laying in it. Who looked at you when no one else would and believed in what you could become? When nobody else would, who looked at you and said, "Go ahead, Bob, I see you."
Oh, you saw me get ready to move my engine. No, Russell Dent years ago, him and Dorcas, they always sold me. And I did not have that self-esteem, but they always built into me, and they loved and encouraged me so much as a little boy. And I would look at them and not understand why, that they would see so much there that I couldn't see it. But they always Bobby or Bobbert, they call me, and say, they pursued me as a little kid, made sure I got to church, and they had to come give me something, And they were figured out as why they were so caring, They nurtured me, and I knew that how to know, and they just taught me the greatest truths I ever learned in life on a little flannel graph, And
It's good.
But they do.
But it's good to know that there was somebody who looked past who the world saw and saw what God saw. The people who are unhappy to save sinners, not the righteous. Mark. It's a joke. You can laugh. The man came to seek and save those who are lost. What are some reasons you imagine that people were displeased by Jesus' decision? Great. There was somebody there. I am rabbi and teacher and Pharisee, and I'm going to be in the Sanhedrin. He should be coming to my house. I'm the mayor of the town. He should be coming to my house. I left Jericho when I heard about him. I've been following him for a year now. Why didn't he come to my house? Based on what you know about Zacchaeus' story, what do you think his character and heart were like?
They're still sad.
Very highly likely that be treated and looked at. Very bitter, spiteful person. Very highly possible he was. I don't know. I can't say if he was or if he wasn't, but it's very possible he was.
It's okay.
You're good. Just go, dude. You're good. So,
Just go. I know, I mean, I speak for myself, I know that my dad was the one that always made me know, no matter what. You know, I have to answer for what I've done, but it's gonna be all right, but to this very day, my family will not back me up. I know. Hey, I ain't talked to him in 3 years. They will not back.
my,
I ain't talked to him. I called him.
Yeah.
You know,
Along those lines, my mom grew up in a very, very heavily Catholic family. She met my dad, who was a criminal.
I hear your dad.
Met my dad when he was a criminal. He's a hoodlum. Spent time. Nothing to do with her because she married someone who wasn't Catholic, and then they had children together, and then he went and got saved, and they were Protestants. How dare you? You're no longer a part of our family. There were family members. I remember just straight saying, well, all those children, they're not legitimate, they're bastards because he's not a Catholic boy. So, I mean, yes. Yes. So, and that's not a bash on the Catholic Church. That's a bash on people.
Yeah.
On people, because there are other people I've met in the Catholic Church. I wish you'd change, but hey, I still love you. I'm still going to talk to you. You're still family, you know?
I have one brother that will talk to me to this day. He always does. I just love him to death. But for the rest of them, it's
Yep.
sad.
Luke 19, 8 through 10. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord. If I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself gracious. The man came to seek and save those who are lost. So we see from this, he probably was in a bad state of character and heart before Jesus came. If he's literally admitting, I took stuff that was unfair. I cheated people on their tax. And so we see that. And I'm asked, well, if he gives all that money away and even 4 times what he did, how's he going to be able to afford it broke then? And he was worth 10 times as much as when he got it from the people. And now, he's like, yeah, I can give you your money back times 4. Oh no, Praise the Lord. When do you imagine that Zacchaeus actually had a change of heart? Somebody keeps calling me. I gotta call him, teach him on that Bible study.
Jim, leave him
It
alone.
ain't Jim. The moment Jesus called him by name, with Jesus, and it happened.
I think it was after he sat down and started talking to him. Why? I just think that because if somebody sits down and talks to you, you're going to, if it's one-on-one, especially, you're gonna listen, and if your heart is not right, and Jesus is telling you, look, you gotta get saved,
I'm a firm believer. Dressed like this, looking like this, they live this lifestyle, they live this lifestyle. You know,
they're either gonna change or
half naked. Talk to the people around him and interrupting the pastor. He's got a wonderful message that Sunday. And tell him, hey, quit talking to the people in the back behind you, person.
well, I can't say that.
At some point, when in a shocking turn of events, Zacchaeus committed to give away a lot of his money. First, he promised half of it to the poor. Then, from the remaining half, he promised to repay people 4 times as much if he had cheated them. This was much more generous than what the Old Testament law required. It said people should repay anyone they've cheated an additional 20%. But Zacchaeus had created, actually, there was a way to borrow your tithes under the law in which you had to pay back 20. So if your tithe was $100, you had to pay 20% of that back, but it went directly to. So like if my this week it was $100. I had to borrow it for something. They're like, fine, you can borrow your tithe, but you need to pay the additional 20%, $20 of course, and the 20% went directly to the priest because that's work. So we see this in Leviticus 6:5 and Numbers 5:7. But Zacchaeus increases this to 400% according to Luke 19:8. That's 20 times the Old Testament requirement. Have you ever witnessed a life change in someone that was so complete it was shocking? You ever witness a life change in someone when you meet them, you're like, you're so and so? Oh my goodness. What happened to you? This just happened actually the other night out at the pool when we had the back to school bash. I seen someone the last time I saw them, they were strung out. They were drunk in bad place. Seen them Sunday night, they were cleaned up, they had been showered, they had clean clothes on. They weren't drunk, high or something. They were in their own mind. I was like, hey, wow. And they go, yeah, I know. I'm different, ain't I? It's good to see you. I like seeing you like this where I can have a conversation and not wondering where you're going with it. Because there's a purple pony behind you and he's dancing with the pink elephant and I don't know what to think about that. You laugh. I've had those conversations. Wait. The way you said that, buddy. Yes. Yes, I've met people like my and no one is beyond his reach. God can transform those among us that seem to be too far gone. Sometimes we see change quickly, like with Zacchaeus, and sometimes God seems to move slowly. We can never give up praying for and believing in God's ability to transform. Likewise, we cannot give up on God's ability to transform the worst parts in each of us. Excuse me. What if Jesus had traveled through? Zacchaeus had not climbed the tree to get a better look. We'll never know if this would have changed the outcome of Zacchaeus' life because Jesus did travel through Jericho and Zacchaeus did position himself for the best opportunity to see Jesus. And most importantly, Jesus did transform Zacchaeus' life. And hopefully he's transformed yours as well. All right. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. We love you. We look forward to seeing you